So on that topic of how important this is when you look at a topical approach, what would you recommend someone like how they should use it? Is this something that they would only put on? Is it once a week? Is it only when they feel discomfort they should put it on? How often and where would be best applied? And that would go to either one of you. Tim, let's start with you, and then we can bounce it to Chad.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
say Tim usually frames this a little bit better than I do, even though we're saying the same thing. So let him run with this one a little bit, and I'll add anything that is relevant.
Yeah. So, as a clinician, I always start with the question, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? Right? You never start with the protocol. You always start with what is it that I want to get out of the thing that I'm doing? So that's the first question that I would ask. So, um, if I had knee arthritis, absolutely I would put it on my knee for sure. But I would put it on much more of my body than just my knee. So I would do much closer to a full body application at least once a day for that. But I would spot apply on wherever my issues were. If this was a specific like focal pain issue. So if and actually I have an injured knee right now, so I'm putting it on my knee typically like 3 times a day, and then more of a full body application probably around once a day. If I was using it in either an anti-aging kind of context, or even though these seem dissimilar, if I was an athlete and I was using it, there I would focus much more on full body application, and um, I would certainly apply it at least once a day. The higher your demand for relief is, the more advanced of an athlete, like the harder you're training, or the more you're dealing with challenges that go along with aging, then you're looking at putting it on certainly more than once a day. And, we have people that notice if they do it less than even 4 times a day for a full body application. So it really kind of depends. I'm hesitant to just say the maximum dosage on the maximum amount of body surface area all the time. I think it makes sense to be a little bit more conservative because, it's not free, but it really helps. So when you have an issue that is whole body, you absolutely want to put it on your whole body. And when your entire body aches, when you're sluggish, you have fibromyalgia, um, a, a full body topical analgesic is it's the perfect thing to apply. What do you have to add, Chad?
Can you ever put too much on? Like, is it going to get to a point where it's just not really doing anything? Could you ever go and put more on where it has some type of a reverse effect?
No, definitely not. I mean, based on what's in the scientific literature, there doesn't appear to be an upper limit to carnosine saturation. What we've seen up to a year and a half in longitudinal studies, there's still an increase in carnosine within the tissue through oral supplementation, which, as Tim mentioned, is very suboptimal with a high non-responder rate. And so, based upon what science is available, we do not believe that there's an upper limit or that there can be too much available. And the beautiful part of it, as we mentioned, it's a dipeptide. If there ever was a scenario where there was an excess of carnosine, which I can't even fathom biologically because of all the things it can be used to do in a small space, it would simply break it down into its two constituent amino acids and use them in other pathways. And so there's really no risk. I mean, there's no documented side effects in the medical literature for anything that's in the formulation. The ingredients are all from what's called GRAS, or generally recognized as safe from the FDA. And so we have a very good relationship with the FDA. We have the regulatory framework in place from the FDA as an OTC painkiller, as well as with Health Canada for the non-menthol product. And so, those things give people great peace of mind. You combine that with the fact that we have those those 5 scientific research studies that prove it gets to the skin, prove it gets into the muscle, and then the outcome-based studies to show what it can do on human performance. You combine that with the safety and the comfort of knowing that this is a highly regulated and safe product via the FDA and Health Canada. And it's a no-brainer for anybody that's looking to avoid some of the pitfalls that can come with pharmaceutical, or they're with a lot of these conditions that people deal with on a daily basis don't have an actual treatment. They have off-label drugs with a ton of side effects, like a fibromyalgia or something like that, where they're just giving you, Lupron or whatever, and it's just wreaking havoc on your body in all these different ways, and then having maybe a 3 to 10% efficacy on the actual symptomology, which is nuts, versus the kind of things that people are reporting back to us in their testimonials and what's been observed in the scientific literature with carnosine for improvement in quality of life and general health and wellness throughout a multitude of different conditions.
So I did want to add a couple of things because I've been keeping my eye on the chats, and I want to reiterate that we're a little bit limited in terms of what we can talk about specific diseases, right? So there are a lot of questions. Can it help with this disease? Can it help with that disease? When I was talking, I mentioned fibromyalgia. I didn't talk about treating fibromyalgia, but fibromyalgia is a condition where pain is a hallmark. And we are allowed to talk about the intersection of LactiGo and conditions that have pain as a hallmark. So as time goes on and we're able to publish additional research studies, the ability for us to talk about some of these other disease states in a broader context than simply remediating pain will absolutely approach those things. But we literally can't talk about, no matter what no matter what kind of feedback we've gotten from users, no matter what the mechanistic plausibility is and what's been shown in research for carnosine in general, we still can't apply that and say LactiGo can do these different things. So I'm gonna have to apologize that like all those types of questions we can't answer. We're restricted from answering. We can answer them. We're restricted from answering them. And then I saw another question. It talked about how if you apply it and it goes into the bloodstream and gets transported to a different area, wouldn't you face the same problem? That is why the opportunity to apply topically is so amazing, because you can put it anywhere that you would want it to get transported via the bloodstream, right? So you can do a full body application in 10 or fewer pumps, your entire body. I saw somebody else ask, what is a full body application? You're talking basically neck to feet, right? And some people will even put it on their scalp. Obviously you want to keep it away from your eyes. There are carnosine eye drops, totally different concept. You don't want to put it in your mouth or nose. So we do have people that will, rub it on their face. But typically we're talking sort of neck down if you're trying to do a full body application. And then you're not concerned at all about getting into the bloodstream and getting broken down, because that's not even something that you need to worry about. You're actually putting it wherever it needs to go, right? Literally the only place that you're not putting it is inside your skull, and your brain has tremendous capacity to keep things out. So even if you take oral supplements, many of them don't make it to the brain. So yeah, I would say your ability to put it anywhere on your body and have it be effective versus take a pill and have it basically dissolve into nothing. That's really one of the major strengths of a product like LactiGo.
And also, let me just add to that, Trent, real quick.
Yeah, please do.
What the limitations that Tim speaks to exist for anybody that works in the pharma space and biomedical research. We can thoroughly discuss what we've evidenced through our own research studies, which we do all the time. But the beauty of it is that, as I mentioned earlier, there are thousands of studies that have already been published. So, Google Scholar, MedX, even simple Google a lot of the conditions and things that I see in this chat as questions there's a lot of good information that already exists. So if your curiosity is unable to be satisfied by what we discuss on the call, please, by all means, do the research and see what we're talking about. Don't take our word for it on the studies that exist and all the different things we're saying. Look what exists out there as the evidence, because it is vast. And so I just want to make sure that we're clear. There are things that we can and can't talk about, but there is also an entire body of evidence that is out there supporting all of the things that we're discussing.